We live in a world of mass distraction. Every time we look up, something is grabbing our attention. Something is trying to distract us from doing our most meaningful work. So in this video, what I'm going to do is break down 10 of the most important concepts that will help increase your productivity. These are the same 10 things that the top performers in our industry are doing every single day that allows them to generate a massive income in a business, in an industry where the average income is about $45,000 a year. Number one is this idea of the vital few. And so the thing that I've found so powerful in my business is doing what we call a task audit, going through all that we do and documenting that for 30 days, and then going back through those tasks to see, okay, what can I cross off this list that I'm spending my time on that if I did wouldn't impact the results I'm getting? And the goal is to get down to as few of those things as possible. There's a great book by Gary Keller called The One Thing. And he talks a lot about in that book, what is your one thing that if you do it on a consistent basis, changes or makes everything else that you're doing unnecessary. It's the essentialism approach to real estate sales. Number two, Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law is the old adage that work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. And so the way in which I look at this in my own life, in my own business, if we look at one of the most important things that we have to do as real estate agents is to prospect, is to be in proactive lead generation on a daily basis. The problem, of course, is most of us look at the task of prospecting and say, yes, I will get to it. Yes, I know it's important. And we give ourselves all day to prospect. Now, if you were to do something just a little bit different and say to yourself, instead of giving myself all day to do this task, and oftentimes you put it off, and then at the end of the day, what do? We say, well, I'll get back to it tomorrow. So if we use Parkinson's Law and we say, nope, I only have 2 hours a day to prospect. I only have this amount of time to have new conversations to fill my pipeline. I think what you'd find is the same thing that happens when we go on a vacation. It's amazing how much we can get done when we know we're going on vacation tomorrow. That is Parkinson's Law at work. Number three, the Pomodoro Technique. You see, if we use this technique in addition with Parkinson's Law, amazing things can happen. I do this exercise all the time with the agents that I coach. The idea is that if we chunk down our most important work into small sprints, our ability to focus on that work increases. You see, when there's no end in sight with the work in which we need to do, oftentimes we invite distractions because we want to justify taking a break. So if we take these two concepts, both Parkinson's Law and the Pomodoro effect, and we chunk down our most vital task, which is to prospect and have new conversations with people on a daily basis. And instead of saying to ourselves, well, we've got all day, we've got all week, we've got all month to prospect. Nope. We talked about having only 2 hours a day. And then we use the Pomodoro technique and we chunk down that 2 hours into 4 30-minute sprints. And we can align those 30-minute sprints with your contact distribution as an example. All right, real quick, and then we'll get right back to the content. If you're a real estate agent, you're looking to build a listing-based business, a business where you can generate a multiple six-figure income, a business that doesn't require you to waste thousands of dollars on the new marketing gimmicks, then I'm going to invite you to click the link right underneath this video to learn about our Listing Agent Academy coaching program. This is a 6-month intense coaching system that more than 3,000 agents from every market all over the country have now gone through. And here's the reality. Here's the truth. I will shoot you straight. This program is not for everyone. This is for agents who value being around winners. They value being in a community of other real estate agents that actually show up, that actually put forth the work. And this is for agents that embrace high high levels of accountability and visibility. To get the details, all you have to do is click the link beneath this video. You can schedule a coaching consultation, and then you can decide for yourself. So with that being said, let's jump back into the content. This is what I have all the agents that I coach do. For 30 minutes, you do nothing but call expired listings and for sale by owners. And because you know you're getting a break in 30 minutes, I think what you will find is exactly what I found, that being focused for those 30 minutes becomes a lot easier. And you come out of that 30 minutes saying, wow, I can't believe how much I just got done, followed by a short break. And then you do another 30-minute sprint. And maybe you call old expired listings for that 30 minutes, followed by a break. And then another 30-minute sprint. Maybe you call absentee owners, followed by another break. And then your last 30-minute sprint, you spend time maybe calling downsizers. What you will find is you come out of those 2 hours of hyper focus, being able to do more than you've ever been able to do in the past. Number 4, do the hardest thing in the morning. There's a great book by Brian Tracy I highly recommend called Eat That Frog. Now, I get a question all the time from real estate agents. When is the best time to prospect? When is the best time to make these phone calls? Well, that depends, because if you look at the stats are a bit misleading. The studies and the data would suggest that perhaps contact rates, people picking up the phone, might be better in the late afternoon, early evenings. However, for agents that actually prospect, if they put it off until late afternoon, early evening, it's rare that they do it. However, those agents that make a daily habit of prospecting that do it in the morning, we find that being consistent because we're doing the hardest thing in the morning. We often say, win the morning, win the day, that you can be a lot more consistent. Number 5, tracking your progress. If you want to improve any area of your life, start tracking it. If you've ever tracked your food, I promise you eat less and you make better decisions. If you track every single penny that you spend, you will spend less money and you will make better decisions. Real estate sales is the exact same way. If you start to track the number of people you talk to every day, the amount of leads you generate every day, the amount of appointments you set, the amount of people you meet with, I promise you that your productivity will increase. Number 6, let go of perfectionism. Perfectionism, as we know, is simply procrastination in disguise. I talk to agents all the time that get stuck in creative avoidance. They tell me all the time, I've got to do this, Brandon, and I've got to get my business cards, I've got to get my website perfect, I've got to get all these things done before I start making my prospecting phone calls. When we know that simply just isn't true, that none of those things are vital, but it's the excuses that we come up with to get in the way of doing the actual work. And that's why we understand that people that need everything to be perfect before they start are simply procrastinating. Number 7, start saying no. I love what James Clear says. He says, when you say no, you are only saying no to one option. When you say yes, you're saying no to every other option. He says, every time you say yes to a request, you're also saying no to anything else we might accomplish with that time. He goes on to say, once you've committed to something, you already have decided how your future time will be spent. In other words, saying no saves you time in the future. Saying yes costs you time in the future. No is a form of time credit. You retain the ability to spend your future time however you want. Yes is a form of time debt. You have to pay back your commitment at some point in the future. No is a decision. Yes is a responsibility. Number 8, stop being so accessible. Stop checking your email first thing in the morning, because every time we do that, we're responding to someone else's time block. We're responding to the world's needs. We're being controlled by other people's agenda. We need to schedule time to respond to voicemails, emails, text messages, etc. You see, the more accessible we become, because we believe in our mind this is giving great client service, service. The more we train our clients that your time isn't valuable, when you become so accessible, it comes back to bite you later. Because when you find yourself doing deep work and you've trained your client that anytime they call you and anytime they email you and anytime they text you, that you're on standby waiting for them and you don't, your clients start to get upset. Your clients start to get frustrated. And then you start to resent those clients because you've trained them to believe that you're accessible, you're there for all of their beck and call. Number 9, just one. You see, there's an idea that helps us become a lot more productive. And that is the theory of just one. And the best example of this is going to the gym. Oftentimes when you wake up and you don't feel like going to the gym and you force yourself to go to the gym, as soon as you start working out, all of those feelings go away. In many cases, you come out of that workout saying, wow, I'm so glad I came to the gym. Well, what's happening here is what we do determines how we feel. And a lot of us want to justify how we feel and that determining on what we do or we don't do. So if we take that same approach into real estate sales, when you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, well, I just don't feel like prospecting today, just do one. Just make one phone call and then see how you feel and then decide if you're going to continue or stop. Number 10, the Jerry Seinfeld system. This is an amazing productivity hack that came from Jerry Seinfeld, the amazing writer, the amazing show. And what he said was this. He said, I had time on my calendar every single day to write. And whether I wrote or not didn't matter. I was going to sit in that chair every day from the time I have blocked out to write. And on the days that I actually do the work, I'm going to give myself a big red Sharpie and mark off with an X on a massive calendar in my office. And my goal is just to get as many of those X's as possible. And what happens for people that follow this system is it becomes too painful to break the chain, to break the consistency than it is to actually do the work.